All right. So actually, this was like the greatest time in my life. I mean, I could do nothing wrong. Everything was going right. And I was on college vacation, and I got an internship in New York City, and the internship paid like 3 times what my dad made. And I was like, wow, my dad had been in that job like 30 years, but I'm like making 3 times what he's making. And having gone to Catholic school most of my life, it was no problem for me the fact that I had to wear a suit and a tie every day. I loved it. And I had a big old Huey Newton afro, so I thought I was cool and the gang. So I'm rolling around and whatnot, and I'm doing my thing, and I'm feeling really good. Got this really great job, and I go into the job one day, and there's like, on one side, there are 5 managers in their desks. On the other side, they're separated by like 20 or more file cabinets. So way on the other side are all the typists. So there was a typing pool of about 20 women. I don't know why we needed so many typists because there was only 5 administrators, but anyhow, there were like 20 women who were typists. And so I never said anything to them, and it never occurred to me that I was the only African-American male in the building, and that most of the secretaries were African-American or Puerto Rican. So I come in one day, and I notice that this woman is looking at me. She's like standing over by the filing cabinets, but she's staring at me. And she just happens to be the most beautiful woman in the history of mankind. I mean, she is absolutely gorgeous. She's like almost 6 feet tall. She's like slender. She's like tan. I couldn't see from there, but she had like brown eyes with green flecks and stuff. I'm like, man. So I decided to walk over to near where she was by the cabinets. So I walk over by the cabinets where she is, and as I get to the cabinets, I got some paperwork. I don't know, the devil made me do it or what, but I got this paperwork, and I'm going to file it in a cabinet where it does not belong. And just as I get over to the cabinet, she says to me, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" And being a real quick dude and real smooth, quick on my feet, I said to her, "No." But then, I kind of channeled my dad with all his coolness and stuff, and it came to me. I noticed that she was speaking with a Caribbean accent. So I said to her, "Because I know if I had ever met you before, I never would have forgotten." And she smiled. And when she smiled, she looked in my eyes, and I looked in her eyes, And from then on, we just used Caribbean accents when we spoke, We left there. I said, "Well, let me take you to lunch." She said, "Cool." So I started taking her to lunch. As we are walking down the street, there are people who are staring at her. People stop to look at her. People are turning around so they could get a better look and whatnot. And I notice she knows that all these people are looking at her because I know this must be happening to her all the time. But I'm just amazed. So we go and we have lunch. And while we're having lunch, we talk. Turns out that she was told to get my attention by the secretaries in the pool. And they told her that I was conceited and that I never spoke to anyone. So we're at lunch now, and, I'm sitting across from her, and she's sitting across from me, and we start talking, and I don't know, it's one of those things like we were like, "Could it be I'm falling in love with you, baby?" And so I'm telling her I'm feeling a love thing. She's telling me she's feeling a love thing. Turns out she's an actress, a model, and a singer. And I'm like, yeah, you could be whatever you want to be. So she says, "I need you to come with me to my job." Now, this is before Saturday Night Live, but Saturday Night Live was trying to capture all the things that were at this nightclub. It was called the Cheetah Nightclub, and it was on Broadway, downtown New York. And you walked into the Cheetah, they had like go-go girls in cages. They had strobe lights and all kinds of stuff just going on all over the Cheetah. It was a happening place, and people were bouncing, the music was thumping. So we get to the door of the Cheetah, and the first thing that we hear when I get to the door, I notice that there's a doorman there. And I recognize him. He is the first African-American Mr. Universe. And he's standing there, and he's all puffed up, standing there at the door. And she said, "Hi, this is my boyfriend. And when she said, this is my boyfriend, he just started smiling and shaking my hands and acting like I was somebody special. So we go inside, and she's a featured dancer there. And when we get inside, it's like 100 people just surround her, and they're all just telling her how wonderful she is and how beautiful she is. So she leaves me with her sister. Now, her sister is not quite as good looking as she is, but she's real good looking. And she's shorter, and then she's thicker. She's prettier. She's finer, but all night, every night, I'm with the sister. And then at the end of the night, I'm with this beautiful, gorgeous model. So finally, the summer was over, and I went back to school. When I went back to school, the thing that I thought about is this, that I wonder what would have happened if I had met her sister first.